Today, I had to teach my students something that I thought was really boring. Basically, I'm helping another professor teach one of his classes, and he asked me to teach an essay and analyze it for the rhetorical, argumentative meaning, like what's the point, how's he trying to get his points across, who's he talking to, all the stuff that's really, really cool. But the essay itself was a snooze fest. It was like this critical analysis of how colleges make food more organic and local, and while that's an important topic, it was really, really boring to teach. Of course, if he watches this video, oh, I'm just kidding, it was so fun and wonderful. So what I did was say, fine, I'll teach your essay, but I'm gonna do something that I think is a little bit more interesting. And anytime I wanna make my IRL classes more interesting, I bring in song lyrics, and anytime I wanna go really deep, we bring in 21 Pilots, of course. So we did a rhetorical analysis of Guns for Hands. You may be asking, what is the rhetorical analysis? Well, it's how we analyze what a writer or a speaker is trying to communicate and how they're trying to convince us of it or trying to communicate that thing to us. We have to like ask not just what are they saying, but how are they saying it and why? And basically for today's video, I want to walk you through exactly what I walked my students through as we did this analysis of Guns for Hands. So first things first, we went ahead and listened to the music video, we watched it, and we read through the lyrics, and we got the basic idea of it. You've probably heard Guns for Hands before, so you know that the idea is that he understands that some of his audience self-harms or has suicidal ideation or something like that, and so he wanted to give them something else to think about at least for a moment. Take the the gun that you might turn on yourself in the ways that you harm yourself and turn it into a fist and rock with the music and with me for at least tonight and for at least right now. And it's a really powerful message and a really cool idea. But how does he make this happen? Because it's one thing to say, hey, I've got an idea for a song, but when it's time to communicate that message to people in a way that convinces them to actually do what you want them to do, well, you can't just do it any old way. So the first thing we looked for was exigency, which is basically a word that means the urgency or the thing that is going to be the reason or the why or the spark for this whole topic. Like what sparked this idea? So in this case, if we look at the first stanza, he says, I know what you think in the morning when the sun shines on the ground and shows what you have done, it shows where your mind has gone, and you're swearing to your parents that it will never happen again. I know what that means. And then he goes on to explain, right now he's just setting things up, this is his introduction paragraph, if you will, that you all have guns and you all have plans to take it. And that take it seems to be kind of a direct allusion to suicide or at the very least like some level of self-harm. So that's the situation he comes into. It's an urgent one, and that's his exigency. That's the whole spark for this, is this scenario. So then we have to ask the question, because essentially what this whole song is like an English 101 proposal essay. Hey, there's a problem, we need a solution, here's why, who's my audience? Like that's how you break down most essays that tell you you should do something. If it has the word should in it, chances are very strong that it is a proposal essay. And in this case, he's implying that people should turn their guns to a fist, therefore it's an English 101 proposal essay. Even though Tyler Joseph decided to drop out of college to pursue music, he's still playing by the same kinds of rules that have dominated and dictated how convincing people to do the things we want them to do have been, how those rules have existed for millennia. So now we need to understand what is the thing that he's asking them to do. Well, first we've got don't take it, don't take it. Maybe that means don't take your life. Don't give in to whatever this kind of self-harm is. So that's an initial call to action. That's the thing that's being proposed. I propose to you that you do not act on these thoughts or these ideas. Then in this verse we see, let's take this a second at a time. Okay, so slow down is a call to action. Let's take this one song, this one rhyme. Let's listen to this. Let's breathe to the beat, and then that's where we'll go. We'll go out the window. We'll go outside and all join hands. But until then, you'll never understand. These are the actions he's asking them to take. Just be in this moment with me and with everybody else in this room, and let's just take part in this song and escape from all of that stuff for just a second. And he gets even deeper into it in the bridge where he says, simply suggest, we're actually even further up, where is it? The solution is, simply suggest my chest and this confused music obviously best for them to turn the guns to a fist. So rather than what you were thinking of and what you were going through, focus back on me, focus on the song. And he makes it very, very clear and brings it right back to the end like a nice little conclusion paragraph. All right, but if we're doing a good rhetorical analysis, we would be completely remiss to not identify the audience. And in this case, he does that for us. He describes exactly who he's talking to. Now, he doesn't say like kids ages 12 to 18 who struggle with depression, but he describes these people in a way that shows he knows exactly what they're going through. Like, he describes a scene from their lives almost. Like, they could be like, wait, you weren't there. How would you know that that happened? Right? He's establishing that credibility, and he's saying like, look, you who have experienced this, you know, who think in the morning when the sun shines on the ground, you know where your mind is gone, and he's alluding to these things and saying like, if that matches you, you're who this song is about. And I will tell you right now, guys, if you're ever trying to write something, whether it's a song, an essay, an email, whatever it is, probably the most important thing that people overlook is who the audience is. Who am I trying to communicate, and what do they need to hear? Because a lot of us will think, well, here, what do I want to say? But really, what's way more important is asking yourself, what does your audience need to hear to be convinced or to get what they need out of it? All of writing and all of communication, I would say, maybe we'll play it safe and say 98%, but 98% of communication is about serving an audience. And before you can serve them and give them what they need, you have to know who they are. And this song basically writes itself once Tyler knows who he's talking to. Now, I'm assuming it wrote itself, but once you know who you're talking to and you know what they need, all of a sudden you kind of, to an extent, know what to say to them. Then after that, we looked at the three appeals, the three ways of argument: logos, ethos, and pathos. Ethos is probably my favorite, and that's where you establish trust and credibility with your audience. And in this case, the fact that he's talking about the window and describing it and showing that he knows what they're going through establishes strong ethos. That's him saying like, look, I know what it's like to be you. And then the fact where he says, don't take it, I'm trying to sleep, shows that he really cares. Like, he cares so much that he can't sleep, and he's saying like, I care so much, please, I need you to care and to listen to me. And then I would say the best example of pathos, which is an emotional appeal, trying to get people to feel sad or angry or happy in a way that convinces them to go along with what you're saying. I think the best example of pathos is probably the whole hands to guns description itself. Just saying like it's an emotionally powerful thing to display self-harm in such a way, and to dramatize it in a way that is respectful, but that also acknowledges how harmful it is. A really good way to find a pathos appeal is to look for an image or an example or a picture. Almost always a pathos appeal is going to be something like that. Well, you probably have seen those commercials, right, where you see this dog and it's black and white, and it's behind a cage, and some sad narrator comes on, they say like, you see this dog, he looks so sad, you got to adopt him. That's an emotional appeal. It's not considering logically whether you should, it's saying like, look, this dog is sad. Sadness is bad. We should do something about this. In this case, Tyler's saying turning your hands into guns is bad, and it's sad and it's scary. We should do something about it. That's a pathos appeal. And then finally, we have the logos, or the logical appeal. There's a few examples of this in here. Obviously, this is best for them to turn their guns to a fist. He comes to a logical conclusion based on his own thinking. And then up here we have, but there's hope out the window, so that's where we'll go. Basically saying like, look, we want to go where hope is, right? And hope's over there, therefore, we want to go over there. A good sign of a logical or a logos appeal is the word so, or because, or therefore. Anything that shows a causal relationship, or a relationship where we come to a conclusion about something. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that Tyler Joseph took some cues from Greek rhetors. Yeah, honestly, I don't know if he did on purpose or not, but this is a classic example of very strong rhetoric. And the ultimate test of strong rhetoric, and this is one that you guys will have to judge for yourselves, is whether the thing being communicated convinces the audience. And based on my experience of going to 21 Pilots concerts, reading comments about Guns for Hands, and watching people talk about it, I'm gonna say that this was a pretty successful piece of composition. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope that you enjoyed my breakdown and rhetorical analysis of Guns for Hands. A little bit of a nerdy, unusual thing, but you're watching this, so apparently you're nerdy and unusual as well. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, and if this was helpful, I don't know, did this help you understand rhetorical analysis or Guns for Hands better? Thanks as always for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.